Hey, my friend, welcome back to another episode of Beyond Your Upline. I wanted to ask you something. So, when you're building your business, your prospects, or even the people in your inner circle, do they look at you as a wanted guest or a persistent pest? Well, in this episode, we're going to talk about both of them and how to be the first one and not the second. So, let's get to it. How do you build a successful business in network marketing when everyone you know thinks it's a scam? How do you achieve that dream lifestyle when 99% of distributors quit within their first year, broke and worse off than when they started? If you ask the so-called experts or talk to your family and friends, they will tell you that it's impossible, that it can't be done. But it is being done, and it's happening each and every day by a select group of people that you probably never even heard of. My name is James Cuilty. Join me as I seek to find out how these elite few beat the odds and succeed in network marketing. Welcome to Beyond Your Upline. So when we first started our business, we were really excited, right? Do you remember, you had the butterflies, it was the first time maybe that you had started an entrepreneurial type venture, right? And you're like, awesome. You looked at the comp plan. Oh my gosh, I could finally have time freedom. I can finally, make more than what I'm doing right now and what I'm currently in. And you get really excited, right? And then you listen to your upline, and then your upline's telling you, go ahead and make a list, get them on the phone, tell them you want to share something with them, get them on a three-way phone call, tell them, that, listen, I don't know, but this is what I'm doing to make some extra money. And I immediately thought of you, and you get them on the phone. And before long, you start realizing that when the word MLM, network marketing, those terms start coming up, that all of a sudden the people start, you know what? I really don't want to have anything to do with this. Is that one of those things? Oh, or they stop returning your phone calls, they stop picking up, they start ghosting you, right? And you automatically are like, well, what happened? I'm so super excited. And your upline is telling you, well, you just need to follow up. You just need to get more, you need to get out in front of more people. And without you realizing it, a lot of times people get turned off because they are going through their own stuff, but they have people that are just persistent, and they're not persistent in a good way. They look at them like a pest, kind of like a fly, right? Or a mosquito, right? You're outside and you have those mosquitoes and they're flying around and you keep swatting them, and for whatever reason it just will never get away from you, right? A lot of people look at network marketers that same way, right? And I actually learned this principle a few years ago when I was sitting in a Bible study, and the teacher was talking about a situation where the disciples were sitting around with Jesus, and they were talking amongst themselves, and then they turned to Jesus and they asked him, Rabbi, in the kingdom of heaven, who will be great in the kingdom of heaven, right? And they were asked because they wanted to know who was going to be number one, right? Who was going to have more favor. And Jesus looked at them and he said, so the last will be first and the first will be last, right? And at the time I didn't realize exactly what the principle behind that was, right? But what I started to learn when I started in this journey, this entrepreneurial journey, and started in business, that principle that Jesus was trying to teach his disciples was simply, if you want to be great, you're going to have to serve. Those people who serve are the ones that are going to be great. And those people that want to be served, they're the ones that are going to be left behind. They're the ones that are going to have nothing. And so a lot of times when we start in our network marketing business, we're kind of like those disciples in the sense of, who's going to be great, who's going to get that top rank. All right, cool, I just have to get so many people, I got to get this volume, I got to close so many people. Okay, it's the end of the pay period and I got to close all these people. And immediately, instead of coming are working your business from a standpoint of service and helping those people that are around you and your prospects, we start, getting dollar signs, and we start moving in. Well, you know what? I need to do this because I want to get this rank, or I want to make this, income, right? And there's nothing wrong with you wanting those things, but it's how we approach it. Just like Jesus, said, the last will be first and the first will be last. You have to serve first. And that means your product is the last thing that you need to be presenting to them, right? Gary Vaynerchuk talked about the same principle in his book, Jab, 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 Right Hook, right? How to tell your story in a noisy social world. And he talks about the principle of, listen, there's so many people that all they want is to make a sale, right? And so they're throwing offers out there, and they're throwing offers out there, and it just becomes this big, this big arena of just noise, right? And so if you want to stand out, if you want to succeed in your business, you have to do things differently. You have to provide value, provide value, provide value. And then after you've provided enough value, then, he calls it a right hook, but then you can present your offer, right? You have to be of service. That means you have to help those people. What are their problems? What are their pain points? What are they going through? And you have to, offer advice, or, present yourself as a trusted advisor, and helping them solve that problem without anything in return. Does that make it, any sense? And so many times we go into this business with blinders on, thinking, I want to hit this rank. I have to have an organization of this big, or, I have to hit, so much, sales volume. And so we start pushing for that. And that turns us into a persistent pest. We're not providing enough value. We want to be a welcome guest, right? And so many network marketers are looked at as pests because they're out there throwing offers instead of providing value, right? I'll give you an example. Let's say in your network marketing, company that you're in, you're selling a what would be something good? You're selling a supplement that helps with eyesight, right? It helps to improve eyesight, so you don't have to wear your bifocals or glasses or something like that, right? So obviously, the person that would purchase something that, or the person that would benefit from your product, would be somebody that has bad eyesight, right? Well, what are some of the things that they are going through? What are some of the pain points that they are experiencing? Well, you know what? Their nose gets really irritated because they have their glasses. They have to wear their glasses all the time, or their glasses, fall down, every time that they look down. Or, it's really expensive to get replacements. Or, it's also really hard to get an appointment, yeah, in order to see their doctor, in order to get their eyes rechecked, and get a new prescription, or something like that, right? Those are just some of the few of the problems. Maybe they have a lot of headaches because their prescription is, or their vision is off and it's getting even worse, and so they, without them realizing it, wearing their glasses or contacts, whatever that they're wearing, causes them headaches, right? So what is something that you can do to help them? Well, you can give them some tips on how to reduce eye strain, right? So, there's a lot of products out there, those blue blocker glasses. My wife actually, got a pair for me. And what they do is they filter out the blue light from your computer, from your devices. And so you don't have that eye strain. And then also it helps with increasing the melatonin, meaning, so when you're looking at your computer screen or your phone or your TV that has blue light, it activates your brain, basically telling your brain it's time to wake up. It's no different than you having the sun come in, and then you naturally wake up after sleeping, right? And so the problem is because we're looking at these screens all the time, your mind is telling us, well, it's time to wake up, when it's like 10 or 11 o'clock. And that's why a lot of people are having problems getting to sleep, right? Because of that blue light. Your circadian rhythms are all messed up. But let's say you have you have eye strain. Well, those blue blocker glasses will help. What are some of the other things? Well, you can dim your screens. Make sure that you don't watch your screen 2 hours before you're going to bed, right? Those just a couple things, and you can put that into a quick cheat sheet PDF, and you can send that out to to people. You could put a little post on your Facebook page, and you said, you know what? Uh, I just put together, some of my best tips that has helped me to actually improve my eyesight because I was getting headaches a lot of time and I couldn't get in to see my doctor. So, anybody that wants this, I'm giving this, for free for the first 10 people or something like that, right? That's something that you can do as a jab to serve. All right. And so then you download that. And then once, those people comment on your post, all right, then you can get into a conversation with them. So what else are you struggling with? And then you can go through whatever they're going through. Oh, well, you know what? I have this food list that I've actually put together of some of the top things that has actually helped to strengthen my eyes, so I don't have any eye strain. Oh, really? Yeah. Where would you like me to send that to you? That's something else that you could do to provide value. So as you see as I go through this example, what am I doing? I'm providing value. I'm truly trying to serve that person. And then, after I have served them, I have earned their trust. Well, then guess what? Then you know what? I have opened the door for me to actually present my product. Oh, hey, by the way, something else that I do, because I know a lot of times it's kind of hard to get all of the foods that are on the food list, and sometimes I get really busy, just with life, with the kids, and also work. I don't have time to actually get that into my cart or actually be able to sit down and put it into a meal or something like that. So one of the things that has actually helped me is I take this product, which incorporates all of the things that I shared with you, right? And it just helps to accelerate the improving of that eye strain. So I don't have to go to the doctors as much, and I don't get headaches as much from my glasses. You know what? And I'm actually, promoting this. And if you are interested, I can go ahead and send you over the link or something like that, right? Well, again, they're not going to look at like you are some sort of pest. They're going to look at you like, oh, I really do appreciate that. Yeah, send that over to me, because you've already provided so much value up front. You serve them up front before even asking for anything. Jesus also said, in the scriptures, he said, I did not come here to be served. I came here to serve. So he came and he was telling his disciples, to model for them. Look, I didn't come here to be some person, some big king, in order for people to start serving and lavishing and and bowing down to me. I did not come here to do this. I came here to serve, to give you a model, a template of what you should be doing to other people in order for you to be successful. Right? Does that make any sense? Right? And so when I started to apply this principle, guess what? Things in my business started to improve. The moment I start to turn around and I'm like, I want to be served. All right, I want you to give me money. Here's the offer. Here's the offer. You can buy this, buy this, buy this. Things started to turn around, and it is a spiritual principle. People could say, I don't believe in it, but it says it right there. And I've also experienced it. Those who are last will be first, and those who are first will be last. So when I started, increasing in sales, started being successful, and I turned around and then forgot to be providing value, being that person who is last, being that person who is serving, right? Things started to crumble. Sales started to dry up. I wasn't getting as many leads, wasn't getting as many customers. But the minute that I reversed course and started to serve, started to help, started to see what problems I could solve without expecting anything in return, then the sales started to increase. Then things started to turn around. Does that make any sense? So when you're looking at your business, if you are looking at it and sales are driving up and nothing seems to be working, take a step back and ask yourself, evaluate in what you're doing and what others in your organization are doing. Are you serving where you are looked at as a welcome guest, somebody that is a trusted advisor, and somebody that people respect and would love to hear what you have to offer? Or are you that person who is looked at like that persistent fly or mosquito where you're like, just get away, get away, get away. And they keep swatting at you because all you want is to put your product in front of somebody. All you want is a sale, and you got to do this business. And you know what? You need to take these these pills or this powder or this potion and this lotion and whatever it is. Does that make any sense? So look back, evaluate. Remember, you need to first know who you serve. That is the basis of everything. Because if you don't know who you serve, then you don't know what pain points to try and solve, right? And it's going to be a very hard road. I heard from a marketing expert a while ago. He said, if you are trying to be everything to everybody, you're being nothing to nobody. You have to be specific, because when you're specific, guess what? Your message is specifically for whoever your target market is, and you kind of weed out all of those tire kickers and all of those people, who would not be a good fit. And I love using this example. If you are selling meat and you are trying to sell it to a vegetarian, it's going to be a very it's going to be a very long road for you, right? It's not a good fit, right? It doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't matter. You need your protein, you need your branch chain amino acids, and it does this and does this, it does this, right? Doesn't matter. They're vegetarian. They, for whatever reason, have decided they don't want meat, and it doesn't matter how good that meat is, they don't want it. And you can sit there and push it in front of them and push it in front of them, but they're still going to say no. And then eventually they're going to get to a point where, like, get away from me. I don't want to have anything to do with you, right? We do that a lot in network marketing, don't we? And a lot of our uplines, say, well, you know what? You just have to keep following up. And, yes, sometimes you do need to follow up with some people, but you have to make sure that you're following up with the right person. So that's where it all starts, with that target market. Who are you serving? And when you know who that person is, like, for instance, if you're selling meat, then you need to go to somebody who loves meat, right? Because then you can talk to them all about all of the benefits of what your steak does, right? And then, oh, you know what? And then we have these knives which helps to cut it, even better. That makes the taste, just, come out. And, you have cutlery, and you have this cutting board and all those other things that you could be helping and presenting to them to solve their problem, right? But if you're trying to give that to a vegetarian, it's going to be like, listen, get away from me, you pest. Does that make any sense? I share this because this was a lesson that I learned, and I see so many network marketers, doing this, and they're becoming pests instead of that welcomed guest. And if we could just kind of reframe where we're coming from in our business, in the sense of, just like Gary Vaynerchuk said in his book, jab, jab, right hook, value, 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 and then offer, value, 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 and then offer. That is what's going to make you a trusted advisor in the eyes of your prospect. And it's also going to improve a lot of your relationships, personal and business. So they know where you're coming from, and if they need something because you provide so much value, they are going to welcome you to whatever offer that you have, and they'll actually be seeking you out if it's a good fit for whatever it is that you're offering. So that's all that I have for you. I hope you got some value from this. As always, please, share this, to those that you think you need to hear this. Also, please write a review if you haven't. And if you haven't asked to join our Facebook group, please click the link below. I would love to get you into the group where we can go a little bit deeper into a lot of these strategies and techniques. As always, that's all that I have. You have an awesome day. And again, I'm going to see you in the next video. I'm going to see you in the next episode. Bye-bye. Hey, thanks for listening. If you want to hear more of how the top income earners are actually building their network marketing business beyond their family and friends, please subscribe so you don't miss any of the secret hacks that I uncover.